go. I think we're live, folks. Yes, I think we're live. Damn fever. Hello and welcome to microraver builds this May 2nd, 2018. Yeah. So here we are at a place where you're going to find Maschinen Krieger. Ma.K. Ma.K. Maschinen Krieger. And a work in progress of a Maschinen Krieger. Stuff being built now. Yes. Microraver Builds is doing Ma.K WIP. Ma.K. Maschinen Krieger work in progress of the CAMEL. Maschinen Krieger. LUM-168 CAMEL from the Maschinen Krieger world. And yeah, we're going to be building this, talking about this, and hopefully doing a very cool work in progress review midstream. Now, for those of you who have never been to one of these shows, live streams of mine, and probably as I see now, you'll be watching it later. You can go up to the top and click on my card and choose what you're going to do midstream. But since it's already been done, you have no choice. But you can still choose, I noticed. So what I'm going to be doing is talking about something that I had started and but didn't quite finish. So it's still I guess technically a work in progress review. So I think what I do in the midstream for a work in pro WIP review is basically, talk about the few things I have to finish before I can put a fork in that kit and call it done. But nah, we'll get to that a little bit later and down the road at the bottom of the hour. But for now, here we are. So if you are here too and you haven't, go ahead and subscribe. It's fun. Just a click away, and that's all. It takes just one click and you're subscribed. Oh, here. We'll go check out see if I am live on my YouTube channel, and I know it works. It works. There it is. Looks like yes, the old F14 is there. My age restriction is on. Oh, you guys don't know why I have age restriction, right? You don't know why. Just in case I do slip up and say something inappropriate. Right? And the whole Maschinen Krieger world may sometimes get a little, I don't know, when I first saw it, I thought it was a little off color. What's up with these ladies? And these madly grinning. Not sure of the ethnicity of these kind folk. I would imagine that Sensei Yokoyama had been finding cast figures to people his dioramas for the photography, and I mean what was available at the time, Second World War, right? And the figures. So, but anyway, it kind of makes sense. I mean, what the heck? People are people. Peoples are peoples. And I think there have been, Yeah, lots of different types of cast figures at appropriate scales for the Maschinen and Krieger world that have shown up. But nowadays, I've noticed that the third party resin casting. You know, I recently joined a forum like last night, and just I didn't. As I discover more about this Maschinen and Krieger world, it is big, it is vast. Of course, it would be. Why wouldn't it be something this rich in the visual storyline would not go anywhere. So yeah, I joined this forum, and it basically. I think the first thing I noticed them kind of talking about, which seemed to be an issue, was something called a recast. Recast. Never knew, heard, or wondered what recasting was. And at first, recast. I thought, oh, people are reposting, you know, somebody else's photo of their Krieger. But no. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but recasting is like actually taking a cast resin figure that's, you know, secured the rights from Yokoyama to use because he's, you know, deemed it okay. And then somebody goes and then makes a cast of that thing and then sells it as their own or makes money out from it. That's not right. That's theft. You know that. It's copyright infringement. There's a reason why we have copyright law. It's intellectual property protection. I don't know. Hey man, I think that people like I would don't buy fakes. We all talk about that in everything. You know, the fake Gucci purse. Okay, I'm getting into a rant here. How did that happen? What's in my hands I'm looking at? Oh, this is the leg. You know, as I said, I was working on the legs. And again, different. This is my second kit, Maschinen Krieger kit, and it is from a different manufacturer. As you know, Hasegawa has gone ahead and secured the rights, I guess, to manufacture, process, sell, put out this for sale. And the Wintermute kit was from the Wave Corporation, and I was very happy with the quality of plastic and just everything about it. It seemed really fast to build, and the instructions were really easy. This is no criticism whatsoever, and in any way. It's just an observation. How about that? Let's put it that way. An observation about the Hasegawa kit is that either it's maybe the design originally of the camel itself, but it seems a little more complicated, a lot more parts to put together than the Gladiator and Snowman. So I feel like I really been working hard, but I have so little to show. It's like some little bits and pieces. But you know, as I kind of look at the detailing and what I did, I decided, well, the Wave kit, I barely used any glue, and everything kind of snap fit, and a couple of dabs of glue here and there. But maybe a few seam lines. You know, I think I was complaining about the seam lines on the foot pads a bit, but not sure if you can see this. Now, this is after maybe as much time gluing sanding I spent on this to get to this level as I did building. So I am spending a little bit more time. And, no, look, I can still see that. See, I'm still spending a bit more time, either, you know, voluntarily, or how can I put it? I'm spending more time trying to get the finish right, either because I want to have it finished nice, because I hate to see a little nub or what happened? No. We're back. Sorry. Had a little bit of a dropout there. Still with me, people? Yeah, so spending a little bit more time on getting the finish on this, which is okay. You know, it's not here. you know, I think the last the last build I was on a bit of a, oh, just get this thing moving. It's been sitting on the shelf for a month and a half collecting dust. But I launched into this camel yesterday, or even the day before, and I think I might slow down a little on this build. If you don't mind, this might be a protracted month to build this. No. At the most 2 weeks for a full build out of this camel unpainted, or into a point where I don't know yet. I haven't really looked at it on a deeper level, whether or not I have to pre-paint, build, paint, yada yada yada. I'm gonna try to. Oh fuck! Shit. My nub collection. My nub collection. Collecting the nubs. You know what just happened? Did you just see that? Did you just see what happened? I'll tell you what happened. Do you know what these are? Anybody have an idea? These are like, when I cut my parts off the sprue, I cut wide, cut a bit of the old sprue off, and this is what is left over. This nub when I trim it off the part. So somebody asked me, why do you collect those? I'm not collecting them. I'd rather them in that cup, in that mixing cup on the table, than scattered on the floor where I'm going to step on them. But you have to throw them out sometime before you kick them over. It's like an ashtray. You kind of empty it out every so often. Ashtrays don't work anymore. There's a certain level, you leave a bud on the top and it rolls off. Anyway, no, I don't. I saw that in a movie once. Oh my God, it's like 1:15 already. What have we talked about? Not much. Nubs. And, oh yeah, he's done over there, that old snowman. Any other interesting parts on this? Not really. I mean, a build's a build. In the middle of pulling apart this styrene. Here, let's look at this card a bit. Wow. I am so intrigued by this one. Just that coloration. That's going to be fun to do, really. But it's of a, what is that? It almost looks grayish brown. It's hard to tell though. That's it. And this, I believe, is the one I am originally going to use. This is at current choice now is the 101st Regimental Space Combat Team. Right. So now I can see the part that I'm working on is this thing right here. So I'm glad they provide these drawings. Yes, I am. You see this? Yes. Interesting. So that is going to be seen. That's modeled. Oh, a little wire there, the footy. So I'm building this. It's made up of, oh, that's interesting. 1, 3. Why are there 3 articulations on a leg? What is the purpose to have 1, 2, 3? There are 4 pivot points. There are 4 pivot points on this quote-unquote appendage. Why? Why? I don't know why. because it's cool. Mechanically, biomechanically, have you ever seen a four jointed leg? Three, you know? Do you guys see what I'm looking at here? Going, so it rotates around there, around there, around there, and around there. Okay. Now, how does this thing like twist? If it was there and then wanted to rotate that top part, how would it do that? I'm not sure. I think this thing is just designed to walk forward and backwards. How does it? You know, there would imply mechanically, I haven't looked at this, in there it should be a ball joint, like a hip joint, and a hip joint is a ball and socket joint. But that doesn't look like a ball and socket joint to me. Oh, interesting. Kind of things you notice upon closer inspection. But it doesn't matter. It still looks cool. Lots of the word of the day, people. Greebles. Greebling. Adding visual complexity. Ding, all these little doohickeys. You know, this is definitely right up there with the idea of a greeble. No, is that here? No. This is a really nice part. This is the one that inspired me to. So you can see this is the lower leg, but this is beautiful. No, I really forget about the kind of logic behind a lot of these things and just look at the purely aesthetic purely aesthetic value of these three-dimensional pieces, I guess is the best way to put it. But yeah, full of greebling here. This is a part that what does it do? We don't know, but it looks good. So I added that. Looks like a shovel, actually. Added that. Got these parts. Those are just merely things to cover over. It's really neat. But now I want to talk about this. Beautiful. Looks like a bone. It's these elegant rounded shapes, especially when they're molded in plastic. Looks so very well done. So I noticed there was maybe a very slight seam line in two nubs kind of forming on that. So I think, yeah, maybe I talked about it yesterday, but I've managed to now. Don't forget to glue. Actually, these were coming together so nice. I'd forgotten that I didn't glue some of them. Started sanding, going, wait a second, something's not right. So yeah, glued everything together and then sanded it nice and smooth. Now, I'm not sure what to say for those people that I don't know. I guess they don't. It's like building a Gundam where you don't intend on painting it. If you don't intend on painting it, there's like a glossy finish you want to maintain, you definitely want to keep the sandpaper away from the plastic because you'll leave the scratch marks in it. So there's a whole world about finishing plastic or not finishing plastic or working with plastic, I guess is the best way to put it. But I will perhaps leave that to another time. Okay, well, coming up to the break, I guess. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's take a little bit of a break now, folkies, and then we'll reconvene in 10 minutes and talk about the... oh, yes, this is the Tamiya F14 Tomcat, F14A, I believe, Tomcat. But I'm not, as you know, I am not one on all the designations of aircraft and tanks and whatnot. Know enough to make it interesting, I guess, to myself. So here comes an F14 Tomcat, my first one. And interesting point, some resin seats, I worked on, and yeah, some things I learned on this build and paint job for the F14. So stay tuned. See you in 10. Oh my God, that thing, eh? Look, I haven't looked at that thing in a while. I have not looked at that thing in a while. Deployed wing version. Isn't that cool? Man, how can one not like that? Long history for this bed, huh? This bed. Who wouldn't want to? Who wouldn't want to build this bed, huh? The one, the only, the inimitable F14 Tomcat. Tomcat. Tom Cruise flying a Tomcat. Tom Cruise. Yeah, made famous in the did I just top movie Top Gun, the F14. So here we have my Tamiya 17. Oh my God, oh, it's been a while. Jeez, you know, please forgive me on this WIP review. Oh, help me out here. Oh shit. Oh, a little unprepared. I was at 170. It's 172nd. Here, can I look this up? Here, I'm going to look this up. Which one was it? It was this one here. I hope I didn't throw it. Did I throw that out? Blood. Oh, there we go. So, here's my feeling. You guys know I threw the box out a long time ago, or put it away. It's a 1/48th scale. 1/48th. The scales. You have to, yeah, I guess be aware. 1/48th. So I'm building Krieger at 1/20th. This jet is at oh yeah, that's 1/48th. And, you know, that's small, man. 1/48th scale. Is that this? What did I build at 1/72nd scale? Anything yet? I think it's in 1/100th. Oh man. Anyway, it doesn't. I guess it doesn't. It doesn't matter. To some, scale is very important. And it should, as it should be, because it dictates the level of accuracy or the difficulty level to get. You know what I mean? It's part of the two variables, I guess, if you're to put them on a curve. Scale versus complexity. You know, as the scale increases, complexity should also increase. Right? Does that make sense? The smaller something gets, the less details you have to put on. Does that make sense? Well, if that's the case, yeah. Anyway, getting to this idea of why did I buy this kit to begin with? Let's ask that question. This came out, I think, 2 years ago, 2016, and it. People were raving about the kits. This is when I just started. Oh man. Oh, lots of damage. Okay. There are some very, very small, fine parts on the front of this thing that I've damaged. And I'm not happy about that. I just noticed it. Although I knew it was going to happen. And it's just a little sliver of styrene I can probably scratch build. handling small detailed models will result in plastic parts on the outside falling off. I think that's inevitable, or being broken. But yeah, I bought this one with the intent of, just doing a F14. I think that's about it. It was not a cheap kit. Oh, I can't stand looking at that every time it comes around. Can you see that stupid thing? Here. Oh, anyway. It's all bent up. Do you see it? There. It's driving me up the wall. I'll fix that later. So I purchased this because it was after maybe I had gotten tired of tanks already. Not surprising. I think this was 2 tanks in. I decided I wanted to build a jet instead. So here it is. And with this jet, I had just endeavored to build out the cockpit, as you can see. And again, if you're even vaguely interested in photographs of this build, they're on my Instagram. And I think I even have some really half-assed live stream version of me didn't really have it quite figured out back then. This is better. So now I can talk about this thing and finally say how it was a great build. And it had lots of nice parts, and it was teaching me a little about what's going to be seen, what's not going to be seen, what you should paint, what you shouldn't. Didn't do any pre-painting with this. I noticed pre-shading, pre-shadowing, which I had used on my flying. I keep talking about this Nazi flying saucer, which one day I'll show you, but that's a finished project, so it's not a WIP. But one day, maybe for reference purposes, I'll haul out the Hannibal to show you the camouflage and painting techniques. But this was what I wanted to do with this, was do the build out and do a straight out painting. No drama painting, I guess is the best way to put it. Just straight out authentic. There's no aging. There's just no weathering. Just straight out recommended kit colors and everything. And why? Just because I don't know. I didn't want to get to that aspect at this part of my modeling career. I don't know. Things to be said about building out F14s, because I think I did a review on a smaller scale one. That was 1/72nd scale Tomcat, and we're looking at the fuselage and whatnot. With this 1/48th scale, it's a big plane. It's a big model kit. The box is pretty big, and when you did a lot of parts, I don't want to pick this thing up. I really don't. Just don't feel like breaking it. Not to say that it's fragile. It's just parts of it are. But what I will say is that the lots of ordnance. Sorry, I was searching for the word ordnance. Was included in the kit, so you can spend a fair amount of time. Here, I'll show you something here if I can find them. What happened to my bits and pieces? There are, oh shit, I've lost them. Explain that to the military. Sir, we seem to have lost 4 Sparrow missiles, 2 Tomahawks, and a whole shitload of Phoenix. Oh my God. What happened? I guess I sold them off. Somebody sold off my ordnance from my F-14. Oh, shit. shit. Sorry, very unprepared for this WIP review. Maybe I can spot them just sitting here. What am I looking for? You're asking. No, I'm looking for the missiles, the rockets, buddy. Looking for the rockets. Jesus. Where are the rockets? Where are the rockets for this thing? Fuck. Well, you can see underneath there, I got a drop tank. If not, I could drop it on somebody. Oh, shit. Motherfucker. Come on. What the fuck did I put this in? Where the fuck? Where at one point does one realize one has far too much shit? I can't see my shit for my shit. Okay, anyway. What else can I talk about for this F14? There's a ton to talk about. Then the reason why I want to show you that. Here, I'm going to do this. I just can't stand it anymore. Let's take a close-up look at the dust. Right here, I'm holding it. It is on this cool-looking mirror, chrome mirror base. Oh man! What I want to talk about. Oh, for shame! For shame! Look at that, eh? Dusting off the old F14. Oh, can you see them in there? Can you see them in there? There is they call the dude that sits in here, you know, your RIO. Isn't that what that guy's called? The radar intercept officer. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, look at the very glossy. Oh, don't drop this, please don't drop this. Anyway, what we have happening in here is a very detailed cockpit that only I can see because I glued on the canopy. But of course, let's pick up model. There we go. Yeah, I asked myself that same question. Why the hell did I glue that? Why did I go through all the trouble of working on that cockpit? All the little, I can barely see them in there. And why would I do that? You can't see them. There's a hair in there too. Oh my God, the dust. Okay, lesson learned. Don't model something you can't actually see. What's the point? I can see the tops of those seats. No, I even painted the bottom and did all kinds of detail on the seats that you can't see. Yeah, kind of, yeah. I don't know. It's up to you. If people like to do that stuff, then do it. Now that I think about it, it's like, well, I think oh my, the dust is killing me. What other things can I say? I don't know why. I was having these things, didn't quite finish putting them on. Here, let's look at the underside of this beauty. And actually, no, I don't know why. There's something wrong with the spec for the color of these thrusters. You see, this is still the color of the model. That's still the color of the plastic. And I didn't glue these on yet. I've yet to finish them. Look at that. Look at that. There's lots of detail in there. Actually, now that I look at it, but oh, I had a really hard time painting those. That sucked. I think when I started painting that, I became really disappointed in my painting skills. That's embarrassing. Ew. And so anyway, the build out on this one and the subsequent painting, and then to run into issues with the color on that. I don't know. Let's just say this is one of those projects that just ran out of steam for the finish. Here, that's a nice detail. The resting hook in there, very good. That is actually a decal that you apply to the outside, which I'd wish they had a decal that I could put on the inside instead of having to try to paint those stripes on. Or I should come up with a different. You know what? That's when I should have put in dark black aging. I have tons of reference. I actually ran into. I actually got a chance to see one of these on the static display in Paris, California. Paris. No, not Paris, France. Paris, California. Perris. Anyway, I forgot. Oh my God, looking at this thing is bringing back the memories. Shit, man. If you go online, I think you might see, this is like one of the early stages in the build out is the cockpit, of course. And then I think it's the, what you're looking at here is the, there. A little bit better. This is showing the inside of the landing gear bay. And yes, my dear, the gear. Yeah, here is the oh so important front landing gear of the F14. Upside down. You can imagine that front landing gear. Take a lot of landing gear in general. These things, what did I read about? These landing gear are beefy because they take a lot. What is the hardest they said about now these things? Remember, landed on aircraft carriers for the most part of their lives, were taken off and landing, doing missions off of, the aircraft carrier. Man, that. I wonder if that Ticonderoga had F-14s near the end there, launching off them. I doubt it. They probably needed a certain size carrier, i.e. the Midway I was on. Now this, though, they said, I remember them, the worst thing to have happen is that, you're on a carrier that's going up and down because of the waves, and then you're on a plane that's going down trying to land on something that's going up and down. So at one point, the plane lands, at the same time the carrier goes up, you have this major force coming down on these poor landing gear. So it can really, you just don't want the bottom crap. And you can see, look, there's barely any clearance. Think about that, man. Look, between here and the bottom of your tanks. So you can imagine these things must have got beat the fucking shit when they landed. So, yeah, these pilots, honestly, fuck, man. Balls the size of Nebraska. You know it. No, man. Like, fuck, I can't even fathom trying to fly one of these, let alone land one of these things on a freaking boat in the middle of the Pacific. After what? Getting shot at. There's nothing left. Why? Yes. I wish there was a better reason for the and to deliver care packages. Look at that. Hey, so I went with the typical markings on this guy with the Jolly Roger, of course. Decals on this were just oh, I don't like to say a pain in the ass because that's not fair. But they were small. Oh, these no steps. These no steps were killer. Tons of them. Anyway. Yeah, lots of neat features about this. It has the workable, that was one of the key features of the F14 was the variable sweep on the wing, so we could have enough maneuverability so they could land them on a aircraft carrier, yet be able to fly at supersonic speeds, so you couldn't hear them coming, man. So very awesome design. Delta. A lot of wing area, and there's something about the body itself when it was in a certain. It had had a lot of lift for a jet. Anyway, a lot of people who love this F14 and decommissioned 85, I think, when they stopped. Sold a bunch of them to Iran. Yeah. At least they know what Iran's flying now. We built them. But what was that about anyway? I don't know all the details of how F-14s came into the possession of the Iranian Air Force. But there you go. Is that enough talk about this? What do I have to do to finish this kit? Yeah, these things. These things. Paint them, glue them on, stick a fork in it, and put it back up on display somewhere. Yeah, it's kind of nice to pull that one out, take a look at it. I'm pretty happy, actually, because this would be a kit, I would say, an early kit in my career. I would deem this one number 4 of 120 models, kits I've built in my life. If I ever reach 100 built kits, that would be an awesome celebration. But as it stands now, finished kits, 1. Really? 2? All right. I think the rest of the hour will be spent whipping the whip. All right, so thanks for dropping in to look at Tamiya's F14 Tomcat review of a kit that's been built. I don't know if that did it justice for anybody. For myself, the review was just a walk down memory lane on this wonderful F14 Tamiya kit. I would say if anybody was, just to draw this whole thing to a close, if anybody was thinking about buying this, I would pay at least $50 for the kit. If you get it for 30 and below, it's a bargain. I mean, it's got lots of features, very good Tamiya quality build instructions, etc., etc. Subject matter, there's a wealth of reference material, of course. So skill level to build it, I would say it's a little bit up there, but nothing anybody who hasn't built a Krieger can handle, I guess. Scale-wise is better than, I guess, building a 1/72nd. So the 1/48th scale was a good one, and decal set was very good on this. I had a lot of great options. It was fun to work on it. Yeah, there are lots of details in this kit that you can work on if you want, depending on how you want to model it. There's different options for the radar equipment, I believe. Or what do they have happening here? You can have it with canopy up and the hatches down for the ladders and stuff. And any number of ordnance bombs you want to put on the bottom, however you want to deal with it. You got. Didn't show you because I couldn't find them. You heard me searching. Tomorrow I'm going to do a little special segment and I will find those freaking ordnance. I will. You know, I've been thinking about going to a night format for whatever. So this might be a different format tomorrow. Not a different format, different time zone. Tomorrow night. So 8 p.m. Yeah, a 12-hour shift, so to speak. So, or maybe we'll preempt and do one in the morning and do one in the night. 12 hours later from now, not 24. Maybe. The fuck? Why not? Who cares? My. Bye. Okay. Whew. I love that. Oh well, back up on the shelf you go. Well, I just noticed now. I'm missing one of the drop tanks. No. And they sold the drop tank. What? There it is. The elevators. And I wonder if they moved independently. There's a computer assist, I believe, in this whole jet. Was what they call that, fly-by-wire back then? Well, we're talking 60s technology, definitely. We're guiding these. The interesting sidewinder technology to keep those things stable. The gyroscope, they're these weird spinny things that spun in the air and somehow kept the fins, would keep them counterbalanced. So very neat old technology that they were using, infrared stuff and radars and whatnot. So at the time, cutting edge. Now it's, I don't know what they use now. Probably maybe something along the same lines, but anyway. Yeah. Well, I'll fix that. You know what? I think that F14 Tomcat review, I think that thing like took forever, man. Holy shit. There's like 5 minutes left. Oh, okay. You know what? I think it's time to like just draw this whole thing to the show to its end. What do you think, folks? I think that's enough. I don't hear anything. Cue the music. Cue the music, bro. Yeah, so, okay. I think that pretty much will be the end of it today. Because, I don't know, that's an hour. And an hour has gone by before you knew it, the show was over. An hour of your life. Or not. Maybe you just came in for 30 seconds for the good parts. That's all it took. 30 seconds. 30 seconds to find out this is all about a camel, a snowman, a gladiator, and tomorrow there's going to be legs, more legs on the build out of the camel, and I don't know, what the hell else am I going to talk? You know, I'm going to talk about a tank. I'm going to talk about a tank tomorrow, and it is a tank. It is the T90, Ninja's T90 tank. So stay tuned.